Pressing the button.
Yes, it's live. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Tina here, Online Selling with Tina, and I'm here with Lucy, Reseller Mom. It's dark in this room this morning.
In your room, is it dark?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in dark over here, like it looks, oops, hitting the desktop. Feeling like it's all dark in here. It is a bit cloudy outside, so there's not much natural sunlight coming through this morning.
Yeah, it is. Well, we're definitely on the up and up for the days getting longer, so I am enjoying that.
Yes. And so
I am ready.
tomorrow is New Year's Eve. And so here we are at the end of the year. And so today I wanted to talk about wrapping up 2022 and going into 2023. What sucked, what didn't, and what can we do to make things better and what we can do for the end of this year. And we're going to only lightly touch upon these topics because each one of them in its own right could be a whole show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we've got some slides here, and let's see here. Do I want to make this big? I think I can do that. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, what'd you write out here, Tina?
Well, I didn't get all the things added to the sheet. I just quickly whipped this together this morning. But in reviewing 2022, these are some of the things that I do. I'm sure I do more than this, but this morning with half a cup of coffee, this is the things that came to my mind right away is what made you the most money. Obviously, what made us the most money, we want to investigate that. Sometimes I'm surprised by things that made me the most money, and I'm like, oh gosh, I wish I would have got more of those. Sometimes I've overlooked things. Can those things continue to make me money? Are they things that I can branch off of and find other products? And is it just the products that made me the most money? Was it things on Etsy, eBay, wherever it's at? What we want to focus on money making activities, bottom line, right? It all boils down to the amount of money that we're making.
Yeah, I've been really focused at the end of the year here. They say, what is it? 20% of your time makes you 80% of your sales or
The
whatever it is.
money.
So really, really hounding in on what's my top 20%? How can I expand that top 20%? And really, just cutting out what needs to go. There's some things that I've sold for a long time and they're just not cutting it anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked them. They did me well. I've got to thank them and move on to better things because
That was such a Marie Kondo thing to say. I want to thank
it
those
is.
things and
I
let them
love,
go.
I loved her stuff.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
found the book not to their liking, but I did like her stuff. Well,
Yes.
I could either sit here and focus on items that make me $2 profit, or I can focus on items that make me $10 profit. The amount of time that I spend on each of those is the same,
Yeah.
but one's making me, whatever, four
Yes.
times the amount of money. So I've got to divide that time and just be really, really more diligent with where I spend my time and allocate where I should, which I know a lot of people struggle with that because
Yes.
it's hard.
It is
I
hard. We get distracted, especially in this line of work, and we are our own bosses. So, sometimes we're not being as focused as we would if we had a boss, telling us, "I want you to do this from."
well,
So,
and it's hard to set those parameters because you got to balance like doing it correctly and all of
yeah,
that, and you can get hung up on the perfectionist. And at some point, you got to say, okay, well, I need to, even though I'd like this to be wrapped a little bit nicer, or folded a little bit nicer, or packed a little bit nicer, or optimize how many are going in the box. At the end of the day, you just got to get that stuff out the door. We had that
yeah,
talk yesterday. I'm like, I need stuff to go out the door. It doesn't make me any money sitting here.
yes. And then, of course, using the reports that we have in Amazon and Inventory Lab can answer these questions for us. It's not like you have to sit there and figure it out. Run your reports. And
Mm,
you want to focus on what lost you money. Yes, do I spend a little time on that? I sure do. Because I want to know, why did it lose me money? Some of it's the obvious, right off the bat. Some things were something I really believed in and I did the research. So why did that lose me money? And I'm not talking about, a bunch of other sellers got on it and tanked the price and necessarily things like that, more for listings that I made myself. And even if it was on a listing that got a bunch of sellers flooding it, was a good listing, then that leads me into, for the things that lost me money and they were things I believed in, well, now I know that they don't work, one. Or number two, if I still believe in that product based on the sales velocity that I see that it has, despite its price tanking or these other reasons, I always ask myself, and I know people have heard me say this many times, how can I repurpose it? Can I repurpose this thing? Can I now make it into a bundle? And that's if we're talking about an actual inventory, an actual product. Sometimes I feel that I've lost money if I've spent a lot of time on tasks that aren't producing me an income.
Yes. Yes, you can lose time, money, space. That's one thing we're going to be revamping and rearranging the warehouse here. And I like to do a thorough, like, move things around about twice a year. And this time I have one of my packers, my lead, taking over that job. She got a little map out, and I said, you work and you pack all day long. I would rather you tell me how you think it should be rearranged than me tell you what I think you should be doing,
Yeah.
because you're working it. And she came up with a plan. It seemed like a good plan to me. I didn't have
Yeah.
it was decent. And so as soon as we get some stuff cleared out, we are going to rearrange things, and that in the mindset of, let's not spend time. Like, one of the things is I have a whiteboard right there, and she's always walking up to look at the whiteboard or taking a picture of the whiteboard, so that, and we're going to move that out into the warehouse so that she doesn't have to walk
So
back
she
and
doesn't have
forth.
to keep checking it. Yeah. So,
Exactly.
and then
She,
that is like the next bullet point, you learn from it and you rework it. So
yep.
the dry erase board in your case was a great idea, but where it was placed wasn't the best place. So you're still going to use it. You're just going to place it somewhere else. And that's a great example of learning from something you've done and rework it when we're not talking about an item that we're selling on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
because everything is not just about the items that we're buying and selling on Amazon. It's about all facets of our business, our work home life balance, all the things. This is always a great time of year to sit down and really, just spend some time in your own headspace thinking about things. It may feel like you're not working because you might be sitting around on the couch a couple days, really, kind of over analyzing these things, but it really puts your mindset in a great framework to start out the new year with intention. It's like I always like to say, what's your intent? What's my intention for this? Where am I going? What am I going to prioritize? And like the Marie Kondo thing, what are you going to let go?
Yep. One of the things that I also sit down, and I want you guys not to make light of, but even small things, when I moved from buying 100 packs of poly bags to cases of 1,000, cases of 2,000, that was more impactful than what I had anticipated. I was like, oh, that's just going to be, next time I reorder this, instead of ordering 100 at a time, because I'm spending more time ordering and trying to keep
Mm-hmm.
up on that order, I'll order a higher amount, and it's going to save me money, price per bag, but it also saves me time, because now I'm
Yeah.
not ordering it every week. I'm ordering
Yeah.
it once every other month.
Such
So
a
little,
good point. Yeah, that's such a good point. And for me, and one of our members and one of our paid groups, Sherry, had asked about um, what kind of realistic New Year goal are we going to set for ourselves in business? Not the big things, but the realistic small things that make an impact. And that is such a great example. And for me, I said I was going to teach my husband some more tasks that I do. See, when I started this business, it was just me. My husband had a full-time job. I had my, full-time job, and I just was doing this on the side because I liked it. And it turned into a real business, to where then it ultimately led him to leaving his job and coming home and doing this with me full time. But I was really the captain of the ship, right? Because this had been my baby. So I had to teach my husband over the course of the last, I guess, 2 years now that he's been with me, a lot of tasks. Like right now, he's in our back room with inventory lab, packing and doing a shipment, because that was a task that I taught him to do that we both can do. We normally do it together, but today I'm doing this, so he's doing that task. But my husband has never done a merchant fulfilled order before. I mean, the shipping label part. He'll grab all the items, he packs them up and gets them ready to go, but I'm the one that logs in and does the shipping label portion of it. So I thought he's already got half of the work done, maybe even more so because he locates it, packs it. Why don't I teach him how to do the merchant fulfilled label for an Amazon order, how to do the label for our eBay orders? I've just never taught him how. And that's such a simple task. And that can really take a huge thing off of my plate.
My simple task that I got my ladies on were scheduling pickups, because now I can just say, hey, would you schedule a pickup for UPS tomorrow when you're done with that order? Sure, no problem. They can log into Pirate Ship and schedule pickups, which again is one of those little things that you're
It
like,
is a little thing, but that's such a huge, I mean, it really does take a huge thing off of your plate. These little things are big, even though they're small and maybe don't take a lot of time. But all of these little like 5 minute, 20 minute, 15-minute tasks, and a lot of times I think, oh, it's just quicker that I do it myself. Look, if I give somebody else 3 different tasks that normally take me a total of an hour of my day, that's a whole hour of my day that I could be doing something else. And that's huge.
yep. Yeah. Yeah. I think I sat down a couple of weeks ago and kind of listed out all the little mundane tasks that you get into this mentality that it's your business and you have to do everything. Like it's your
Do
business.
all the
You have
things. Nobody does it as good as I do or
yeah.
as fast as I do.
And I sat down and I thought of all the little things that I do throughout the day in the office and what could I put on her plate and what would make the most sense to put on her plate and what would I prioritize putting on her plate. One of the ones is getting the mail. I like getting the mail and it gets me out of the office. So I kept that one, but go through make yourself a little list on all those little tiny tasks and see if you have help, what could be prioritized, what you could block out to be more efficient, or what can be replaced with other software. There's not just having somebody else there. There's other things
And
that
I
can be
believe
done.
that was the next bullet point too, is
Oh,
what do you like doing and what do you hate doing, right? So you like getting the mail.
but also what can just be like gone away. Like there's certain tasks that I've sat down and I went, I've done it like this for since the beginning of time, but do I really need to? Sometimes
Mhm,
you don't. You can just cut it
mhm.
out altogether. You don't have to do it, which is I don't know. That's the worst feeling of, oh gosh, I've been doing this forever and now I'm not doing it.
Yep.
I don't know.
And this,
I struggle
oh,
with that
sorry.
one. Go ahead.
The next sentence here is on recapping what you learned and how you grew, and what do you want to learn in 2023. This is probably one of my personal favorite things to spend time on. One is we get lost in our day-to-day business activities and the frustrations, and sometimes we fixate on all the things that are going wrong, where we're frustrated, and where I think I could have done better. At least for me, I am my own worst critic. I really, really am. When I sit down, and Lucy knows I do this every day, I have a daily moment that I call rethinking my life. And every day I take about a 20 to 30-minute break. I have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and I call it I'm rethinking my life. And so at that moment every day I just like have this moment of zen. Well, at the end of the year, I also do this because when you really list out all the things you accomplished and what you learned in a whole year, it makes you feel good and you're surprised. I'm always surprised that, wow, I did learn how to do that this year. I did add this onto my repertoire of things, and that feels good. I like doing that.
Yes. Yeah, definitely sit down and see, what did you accomplish? Did it do what you thought it was going to do? Are you happy with it? Were you not happy with it? Did you take on something? Like I used to do more eBay than I do, and I sat down one year and I'm like, I hate eBay. At the end of the day, as much as I try to love it, I hate it.
Hmm.
I hate it.
Yeah,
And that's okay. I don't
that's
I don't
okay.
I don't have to love it. So in turn, if I'm in charge of my own business, then I can cut out eBay if I want to cut out eBay.
That's right. You can do what you want and what you like to do. That's what's so cool. And you can learn something new if you want to.
Exactly. I took on Shopify for a couple of years there. That was a fiasco and a half. I didn't like that. I had so many troubles with the API integration and just managing it and setting it up and getting the links to work and all of that and the integration. And I worked with a company that was god awful. It was just a nightmare. And I'm finally switched to a company that was good to work with, that handled the integration between Walmart and Shopify and Etsy and, all of the integration part. But at the end of the day, it was a lot of time for like nothing. It had potential to grow, but it wasn't there yet. So I was like, do I really want to keep fostering this little baby idea or cut my losses and run? And sometimes it's hard to cut those losses and run,
Because you
it's,
get emotionally
yeah,
attached to
you
it.
get emotionally
And
attached.
you then have to question that, and then sometimes you tie your failure to it. Well, now I'm a failure. I put in all this work into, say, I've never done Shopify, but we'll use that since that was the last example. You tried it for 2 years. I'm sure you put a lot of work into it, hired VAs to help you with designs. I mean, you gave it your all and it failed. So then sometimes we then take that on personally, that I failed. But how can you fail when you're doing good here? It
Yeah.
just didn't work out.
Well, and there was a variety of things, and one of the things that happened was I was just dipping my fingers into too many things at the same time, and if I had done nothing but my Shopify store on a daily basis instead of once or twice a week fiddling with it, then it could have, where you spend your time is where you're going to see your growth. I
Yeah.
find that 100% with Amazon. If I source only at Ross and Marshalls, I'm going to find amazing things at Ross and Marshalls. If I only shop at Walmart, I'm going to learn Walmart and I'm going to make buku monies at Walmart. If I invested my time and effort into eBay, I'm sure I can make eBay work, but I don't enjoy doing it. So where you allocate your time is where you're going to flourish. That goes with relationships and any other goal you have. If your goal is to lose weight or pay off debt or have a better relationship with your spouse, you got to put the effort into it, no matter, whether that's big efforts or small efforts. If it gets no efforts, you're not going to see any improvement.
Yes. And then did my business grow? Why or why not? Some years I've done better than other years, and this year my sales overall for the year are a little bit down from last year. However, at year end, I actually have no credit card debt. So I've ended the year well, because I don't owe anything. And I had to examine, why did my Amazon sales decline this year? And when I say they declined, it was a small margin. It was nothing drastic. Well, I already know the answer to that. We've discussed it before in some of our calls, and I'm okay with that. My reasons why I'm okay with that. If it was, something epic where, now I'm in debt and I have all this inventory, nothing's selling, I'm going to have to really take a huge step back and say, okay, before I really go deep into this business even more, I need to pump the brakes here a minute and really, figure out how I can get some capital back. But these are things that only, each seller can answer for themselves. But this is something that you really need to look at. And if it did grow, if it was in the positive and it grew, do you still have a big amount of debt that goes with that? Are you debt free with that? Is it kind of going steady? These kind of things matter as well, and we need to take looks at that, and can we continue to grow it that way? Whatever's making it grow, let's keep doing that.
Well, and all I've always preached that numbers have a story behind them, right?
Always.
Numbers always have a story behind them.
Mm-hmm.
The year my house flooded was reflected in my numbers for sure. This year, I not only expanded to a warehouse that's twice the size of what I was working in, there was complications that went along with that. I got my son to college. The year my father passed away and I worked out
Yeah.
of town for 2 months. I mean, that
Yeah.
there's always going to be a story to everybody's numbers. So
Absolutely.
if you see
Absolutely.
if you see somebody posting their numbers, take that all with a grain of salt, because
Yes.
like you don't know what their story is behind that.
Yep.
Anyhow,
Very
you only
good.
have to report to yourself and the
Yep.
IRS and maybe your spouse.
And for some people, you just started off your Amazon journey. It kind of was a hobby, let me just see about this Amazon thing. And now at the year's end, you're like, wow, I made more than I thought I was going to make. I think my first year on Amazon, I wish I have to pull that report. I made close to $50,000 my first year. And I was like, for me, I was like, wow, $50,000. Now, of course, that wasn't my net. But I was like, wow, this is this could be something, and I was doing that very part-time. And that's when I took a look. I was like, wow, I need to make an LLC. I need to, get a business checking account. No more sole entrepreneur here. And so, that may be something that you're facing this year. Do you see that this is going to be a viable business for you? And will it benefit you to become an LLC and get a bookkeeper and maybe expand your knowledge by taking a course?
Yes, yes. When you are looking at doing improvements, don't forget yourself. Nobody, I have not met a perfect person except for Tina in life.
It's so goofy.
I have not met anybody that's perfect, and that is both grounding and liberating. When you look back and you look at yourself and you go, okay, I am not perfect. I do not. My husband told me one time flat out, he's like, you've never run businesses, and you're expecting to jump into this and run these kinds of numbers with zero experience of running a business and zero education background in financial stuff and whatnot, and you're mad that you're not killing it. And he's like, do you know how many other people run businesses and have not been successful, or have, and they have more experience and more of this and more of that? Like, why are
Yeah.
you beating yourself up about it? But this year I did, I wanted to expand my brain a bit, and I've joined for my crypto side, I've joined a group that has been super educational. And then I've also been expanding my education on the financial side, because that's an area of growth for myself. And I'm doing accounting. What I do, accounting 201, and then I'm starting accounting 202 next Tuesday. So I'm back in the classroom in the evenings here. But, not, if there's an area you don't know, if it's computers, if it's shortcuts, if it's Google
Never
Sheets.
quit learning.
Yeah,
Really, never
there's
quit
so much to
learning.
learn.
So
Love.
I wanted to share this picture. Right. This is just a picture of, it looks like, what is this,
Is
right?
that your brain? That's how it's
So
programmed. What is it?
my my husband printed this off of the computer.
Okay.
He Now, I don't know why he printed this off yesterday, but my mother, and you're going to know what this is in a moment. So my mother
The
had bought
the
one of these
picture
books
things.
for him years ago. Yes, how you see like the posters on the wall, and within this is an image, right? How you
Mhm.
have to like really look, and then all of a sudden the image pops out.
Yeah.
I suck at these. I never can see the image ever. And I've tried to let my eyes get cross-eyed. I've tried to do all the things, and it really takes patience and stillness to sit there and relax and look. That's not my nature already. You already know this about me. I'm just like, let's just whip it out. And it's I like to make fast decisions, and that's just the way my brain is. My husband is much more patient. He can look at these images and in seconds see the image, in seconds. And it infuriates me because I cannot. So the reason why I wanted to share this with you today is that sometimes I feel like this is what it looks like when we're looking at our business.
Mm,
It's
yep.
so confusing. And it's like we have to sit there and be patient and take that time and be slow and be still so we can narrow in and see the thing that's right in front of us. And that's why I wanted to share this today, because that's what I thought about this morning when I was looking at that printout.
I feel that way with returns, because if I sit there and I just look at my returns and my reimbursement and my warehouse damaged items, I feel like, oh my God, everything's getting damaged in return. But when I zoom out and I look at that big picture, I'm going, oh, okay, it's like 5%.
Yes.
Really, it's
See?
not that much. We have some comments I'll run through really, really quick here. Good morning, Bahadir. Good morning, Adva. They're looking for somebody to help with product research. Yep, a lot of people are loving it.
Yeah.
Selling higher priced items have advantages, but when they are returned or damaged, you think lower cost items might be better. Exactly. The grass might always be greener on the other side. It's greener where you water. Good morning, Leanne. No, Lan. I don't know how to spell. I don't know how to say that one. Laney?
Laney.
Is it Laney?
It looks
And
like
then
Laney to me.
Loving It says being debt free at the end of the year is a great, regardless of your sales. You can always start fresh next year. Absolutely. I love that. Good morning, Jose. Good morning, Web3. Next slide. You made these slides, so you.
I did make these slides this morning. And so I'm calling us solopreneurs. Now, maybe you don't feel like one when you have Packers in your warehouse, but overall, you are a solopreneur, right? We are just regular people out there uh, doing this entrepreneur business. So, that's why I say that keep in mind while this is wonderful and amazing, it ain't easy, folks. It ain't easy. People sure
Nope.
make it look easy, and it's not. And but it's fun. I mean, for those of us that are doing it, we obviously love it. We're obviously trying to escape the 9 to 5 and create our own income and our own dream and our own work at from home lifestyle, our own freedom to work while we're traveling on the road, whatever your reason is. So, what I would like to say about going into 2023 after you have reflected on 2022 is be super strategic. So, being super strategic means having a reason for everything that you do in your business. It means making productive use of your time and managing your business effectively so as to get more done in less time without burning out. And yesterday, you had made mention in one of our paid groups on your live the point. I forgot what book it was from that you read, where if you give yourself X amount of time to accomplish a task, you'll get it done in that time, whether it's a big amount or a shorter amount. I always love
Yeah.
that explanation.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to pull that up. Keep going. I want to pull that up because I referenced that.
And then once you have your strategy of what you're going to be doing and managing your time effectively, and only you can do that for yourself. What works for me, what works for Lucy, we all have our own lifestyles and our own life. So once you make your strategic plan, you want to set timers for each of these projects and prioritize, for one, what makes you money. I mean, to be the most effective with your time, for the reason we're doing this is I want to do things that make me hard cash. I want that money coming in.
It is
Parkinson's law, yes.
the work expands to fill the available time for its completion. So I strongly believe that that is a law in our world. So if you say you're going to have 3 hours to pack this shipment, it will take you 3 hours to pack that shipment. If you say you're going to research this item, for 2 hours, it will take you 2 hours. So that's why when I'm researching things, I usually put a time cap on it. I got to be done in the next 30 minutes or whatever it is. Otherwise, you could sit there and be researching forever.
All day long.
Yeah, it's it will
Yes.
fill up your time.
So then going on to number two, without a set time to do the task, you could waste all day not getting much done. So we need to prioritize things by what makes us money and what is important, like getting receipts in order or paperwork, etc. And I like checking in to see how excited I am about an idea, how it contributes to my big plans, why I want to do it, how easy it would be to implement, and what the end result would theoretically look like. So, this is just some of how my own brain works. So, obviously, doing paperwork and getting receipts in order doesn't technically make me money, but it is very important. And so, you do have to prioritize a day to focus on paperwork, your finances, your money, organizing things for your bookkeeper, the back end things. And then on the front end things, you want to focus on the things that make you the most money first. And you want to prioritize those things first.
Yeah, that's where I went to a more strategic block time this year where,
Yeah.
you know, I only do my paperwork and my mileage and stuff like Friday and
Yeah.
knock it out during this time frame so that I'm not, because I used to go around and be like, you can't see now, but there's stuff everywhere. But Friday's my cleanup day, so it's fine. I'm like, Friday is when I'm going to put files away, put receipts away, all of that stuff so that I'm not bombarded with it during the week. Just trying to be strategic with my time. Because if you're filing paperwork and you need to file 3 versus 10, that's not a huge difference when you're time. But if you're doing, if you're filing each of those 10 pieces of paperwork by itself, that just kills your time. Anyhow, yeah, you got to be strategic with everything that you do,
Yes.
which is tough. All right, do a services swap.
Yes, do a services swap. You are making friends in this online community of resellers. I made friends with Lucy. I've made friends with lots of other sellers behind the scenes. And maybe one of them is better at doing something than you are. And you could trade out. Maybe somebody is really great at advertising campaigns. I mean, they're just killing it. And maybe you're great at creating listings. Well, maybe you can trade those services with each other. Hey, I'll create a listing for you if you will, show me how to run an advertising campaign for my listing that's not doing well. Things of that nature. It could be outside of the Amazon world. I mean, hey, you could have friends that work at a store and say, hey, can you hook me up when knowing when things are going on clearance, and I'll, pay you X amount of dollars, or I'll trade you and, come over mow your grass. I don't know. But, you know, uh, trade things
Absolutely.
with each other, do service swaps if you can. So if you have business friends, find out maybe how they can help you wherever it is that you used to work if you've left the workplace there. Try to be creative and think outside the box with who you know, what they can offer you, and what you can offer them in return.
Yes, I have made some interesting friends, and not not necessarily intentional. Like, I don't go out looking for people to be my friend necessarily, but as you're just going around doing your daily life, I'm always thinking of the networking possibility in the background. I was able to capitalize on a couple of good game buying lots from this one guy that my kid plays games at the store. And anyhow, I know the owner. We had our son's graduation or birthday party there one year. So anyhow, I know this guy, and whenever he comes across a really good wholesale type deal, but he doesn't have the space to take on that, he calls me up and is like, hey, do you want a discounted games? Absolutely. I made thousands of dollars off of that relationship, and it helped him out, get him his space back, and it helped me out.
And that
But
was
there's
a
other,
win-win. Yeah.
yeah, there's lots of other things. I have people that call me when they have packing material in the neighborhood, free packing material, free boxes, um, office chairs, and all sorts of things like that. Who is messaging me? Kill that. It's not Tina, so it's not important if it's not Tina. But yeah, I mean, I've had the mailman stop by to see if I have any packages, just because he knows it was a busy time of year, and maybe I didn't get my stop in. So always be networking. You never know where those services are going to
That's
be.
right.
Um, I found my cleaning lady because when I've been to the rehab center many a times, and Julia used to work the front counter of the rehab center, and so now it's been years, but I'm still Facebook friends with her. So when I needed a cleaning lady, I put on Facebook that I was looking for somebody to clean the house, and she's like, "Oh, my friend Brandy that lives, down the hall does cleaning services. You want me to hook you up?" Absolutely. So I mean, like, that relationship had such a funkiness to it that it wound up. You just never know where you're going to find your next connection. What do we got next? Figure out your money.
Figure out your money. Look, it always still comes down to money. How much money we're making, how much money goes out. Like, everything comes back. It does. Everything in life comes back to money. Life costs money, and we need our money figured out. Not only for your own personal home finances, for how much you need to budget your money to pay your mortgage and buy your groceries, and can I cut back on cable costs? Can I cut back on car insurance? It all comes down to money, both personal and in business. So, as far as your business money, you need to figure it out. So, if it's your first year, if it's your fifth year, and you're analyzing your numbers and you're finding out what your net is, all of what these figures are, can you start paying yourself if you haven't started paying yourself yet? Can you give yourself a raise, or do you need to give yourself a pay cut? And these are only questions you can answer for yourself once you get your numbers in order. And then, what percentages should you be using on your profits for income? Do you need to have the formula where you always take, 10% of what your net profit is as your income? Do you need to set 20% aside to be paying your taxes quarterly at the end of the year? How much should you be spending for an accountant, for softwares? How much of a portion should you be setting aside to pay your CPA at the end of the year? These are budgets that you need to figure out for yourself, for off of what your numbers are. But this is something that's very important to do. And I want to say, a lot of people that now have gone Amazon full time, that used to have a regular job and had a set salary or a set paycheck, I realize that this can be a little harder for you people. Someone like myself, with my background, I had cut hair for a living. My paycheck and income was never the same. So I was used to having it go like this, because if I cut 5 heads of hair one week and 100 the next week, my pay is going to reflect that. I didn't have paid vacations with my job. I didn't have paid time off. So if I was sick or if I went on vacation, no worky, no money. So I had to budget for that. I had to have an envelope set aside that I put little extras in there. So when I knew that I was going to go on vacation, not only did I have to pay for my vacation, I also had to pay for the time off that I took from work. So I had to create my own paid vacation fund, right? So for somebody like me, transitioning to Amazon wasn't a lot different, but for those of you who are used to always having a set income, that may or may not work for you in your Amazon business. You may have to allocate a percentage of what your biweekly payouts are on Amazon. Only you can answer that.
Only you can prevent. I mean,
You're going to say only you can prevent forest fires?
I started with that. Just to, since we're in between slides, real quick here. What reports should you pull from Amazon? I have a cheat sheet somewhere here. Yeah, end of the year evaluation. You need to pull the end of the year valuation of your inventory. It's easiest to do through Inventory Lab. It's you can do it through non-Inventory Lab too. You're going to want to pause, screenshot this, and then go from there. And then loving it. This is the company that I wound up using, and I found that they were pretty decent on integration in between the different platforms. I don't know. I have not looked into this in well over a year, so I don't know if they're still top of suggestions for integration platforms, but you could start there or see what's comparable to Sellbrite. So we've got, they do Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Walmart, Google, and they took my information straight from Shopify and then put it onto eBay, Walmart, and Etsy. And I know they would do that to Amazon. Now, I don't know if they will pull your information from Amazon and then put it over to eBay, but you can start there and see how it goes. It's just called Sellbrite.com. Is it Sellbrite.com? Yeah, just look up Sellbrite, Sellbrite. Do you do payroll W-2 each month? I do contractors, and at the end of the year, they get a, what is it?
1099?
Is it a 1099?
I think it's 1099.
But I did want to touch on that next. Let's see here. It is going to be the 6th. Next Friday, my CPA is coming on. So all questions for taxes, put them in the comments right now, and we will get to them next Friday with the CPA. Because like Tina and I, we've done taxes for oodles of time, and we have, like what we need to pull and everything. But she's the one who's going to say, have the valid answer. She is certified and all that good stuff. And she's
the only thing
knowledgeable.
the only tidbit I do have towards taxes for right now, I mean, literally today and tomorrow, is if you need to show more money out of your business and less of a profit, now is the time to order and buy whatever it is that you need to buy for a 2022 expense. So if you have profited too much, do you need to buy new computers? Can you buy a bunch more bags and boxes and supplies that you've now ran out of for Q4? Any of these business expenses, your time is crunch time if you need to make these purchases. That's the only tidbit I can give you for today.
And my side project that I don't know how relevant it is to anybody else, but I'm in Washington, and it used to be that if you didn't have your reseller permit, you just paid the sales tax. So when I went and bought, cups at Target to resell, I paid sales tax on them. Uh-oh. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. My screen blanked out. That was weird. Anyhow, Washington State is now allowing me to go and collect that sales tax that I paid back, because essentially I paid sales tax twice. I paid once when I bought the product and once when I sold the product on Amazon. And they only allow you to go back 4 years. So I need to get 2018 done by the end of the day today, which it looks like it has all been accepted. So I think I'm good. Anyhow, check those things out. That's
And then
Yeah,
also on spending the money, if there's any courses you're wanting to buy. Also, if there are softwares that you want to pay for a year in advance. I personally like paying for my software a year in advance. So I pay for Inventory Lab upfront for the entire year. So that cuts it out of my monthly budget allocation because I pay for it once a year. In your budgeting, another tip I can give you when you do sit down to do your business budgets is I like to transfer every payout a little bit into a business savings account and let that pile up. And then that business savings account is where the money is going to be to pay the CPA at the end of the year and to prepay for my LLC annual dues for that, prepay for Inventory Lab for the entire year, things of that nature. So I would like to throw that out your way as well.
all right. So Tina and I, we were talking about expansion ideas, and we got a whole lot of things that are just ideas. You don't have to expand on everything at once.
No.
I've done that before. It's like, I want to do this. I want to sell more and sell better and have less returns and hire here and hire there and expand expand my volume, expand my velocity, expand my time, expand my storage, expand my room. And you can't do it all. But
But not
again,
expand my waist size.
oh yeah, we ate way too much this. Yeah. And I'm doing a fancy roast tonight, I think. Oh, it's definitely, yeah, we're gonna have to hit the gym this next year for all that expansion. But for work expansion, there's a lot of different ways you can expand. I have tried, I think, just about everything here. I have not tried a third party packing center. Have you?
I did once and it was a horrible experience. And so I know people swear by them, but and I've thought about it like, oh, maybe I should give another one a try. Um, but I think I'll keep doing what, look, I have a third party packer. He's back in the room doing it right now.
You are running him ragged, aren't you? Poor Kevin. Does Kevin know how many ways you're expanding him?
Look, I'm really lucky and he cooks most of our meals even in this house. I'm pretty lucky that way.
Yes, yes, you
I
are.
hate cooking for those of you that don't know, but I do it. I just don't like to do it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't really care for cooking. And one time, I think it was my mother bought me a whole set of pans for like my birthday. I'm like, why? I don't. That's like buying your wife a vacuum cleaner. Don't. Nobody likes doing that. Bad gift. Bad gift. Unless if you really enjoy cooking, why would you? Anyhow, so I have hired a VA. I've had both positive and negatives with that. My packer that's currently here, she's going to take over more shopping. There's a lot of replens that I just don't get to. And so we were going to work in some time, like a half a day a week, that she's going to go out and get replens and do order pickups and stuff like that. I've done a storage unit when it was tight and needed more space. I'm doing the warehouse this last year. Credit loans, getting capital for expansion. You can do expanding on the equipment. The next thing that would be kind of in my realm to do would be a shrink machine. Is kind of it's on my brain. I don't know if it's applicable right now or if that's like down the line. Equipment could be computers, scanners, workstations, anything like that. I did get a scanner one time, so that I could go out and scan faster. That's things that can scale you up. Software, other things in your KPI, expanding your knowledge on a category, a brand, learning a new store. I was talking to somebody yesterday who said, "Oh, I've never shopped there." And I said, "Well, it's an opportunity. If you've never shopped at some store, uh, and it's now mentioned on the VA list that we had out, and they had never thought of going there. It's expanding them to other ideas." And I said, you could build your replens up. That's what I do. I have replens on just about every store. And like, we'll take Hot Topic. I had never really shopped Hot Topic until recently. And I'll say recently within the last 2-3 years, but it can be good. So, taking the time to learn how to do online sourcing at Hot Topic is expanding. You could expand on your ROI, your margins, your sell price point. As you know, when you're if you sell $12 items versus $30 items, Amazon takes a higher percent of that $12 item than they do of that $30 item. So, thinking strategically about things
That's a
like
good
that.
point.
Yeah.
And for those of you that want to spend money on expanding your knowledge, a shameless plug, but Lucy and I are starting January 2nd, our bundle course. We've already had several signups. People are getting placed in the Facebook group, and I have been filming all week videos. And in fact, after today's live, I will be filming yet another video for our course. And if any of you are interested, come join us in January in our bundles course. And you don't have to use it just to create bundles. I mean, we're going to teach you how to make listings and so much more. So it's more than just bundles.
Sweet. Yeah, we were supposed to talk about that. We're bad at marketing.
We're bad at marketing ourselves. We're terrible marketers.
We've been working on bundles. That's what we've been working on. But bundles make me the most money. So I'm like, again, allocating my time. If I make the most money off of bundles, guess where I'm going to be spending my time? We do this live show once a week, and I try to get some other content videos out. But really, in between times, I'm sitting on. I did a huge deal this week. I just paid the lady. I bought $4,500 worth of liquidation private label stuff off of a seller who's getting out of the business, and I'm taking over her listings. And so I'm trying to get access, get things updated, get things optimized, because while they're not bad listings, everything can use a freshening up. And then getting my merchant fulfilled junk out. That's trying to switch over from merchant fulfilling out to FBA.
I actually have quite a few orders this morning, merchant
Yeah.
fulfilled, which I was like, well, where'd those come from?
Yeah, I think I have 8 this morning. I'm going, well, that's more than I anticipated. But again, you got to spend your time off of this $4,000 order. I'll probably make about 5-6 grand. So, that's priority.
100% ROI. That was a money-making activity you did.
Yeah, it about killed my feet. My God, I had to stand there and scan on the hard concrete for a long time, and she kept interrupting me, and I'm like, just leave me alone. Let me
I'm
do my
bad at
scanning.
interrupting. I'm an interrupter. I'm doing it right now.
You are. All right. Some other things we want to talk about is ASD is now open. You can register for ASD. If you're not going to ASD, register and get access to the vendors.
Yeah.
You can go and search the vendors if you're looking for vendors. If you want to expand wholesale, that's another way of expanding, going from retail arbitrage, online arbitrage to wholesale. A lot of us don't want to just kill our good money-making replens and go right into wholesale. But once you start finding wholesale replens, it scales up. In fact, I
Yeah.
need to make an order because I sold out really quick on a lot of stuff.
I have a sheet of paper here with my list of with my
So
list
do
of
I.
things. I'm like, oh crap, I ran out of these even before Q4 and I didn't even pay attention. And
Yeah.
I
was
can't
like, I
keep
should
up
have
with myself.
But that's another one. I'm going to take this list, and that's what I'm going to be training my lady today on some of them, because some of them she can go in and order. I just got to get the technical side set up so she can
Yeah.
log in. Let's see here. This is my other favorite website, wholesalecentral.com, to find wholesalers. So if you're looking, like when we're looking for bundles, let's say we want to add, I don't know, we want to add something to it. We're going to do, gosh, I don't even know, like jewelry. We're looking for a bracelet to add to a bundle. You can come here and find bracelet vendors to find that doodad that you want to put together in your bundles to market towards Mother's Day this next year. These are great sources, both this one and ASD website, to go and find those vendors. I do not suggest them for straight up buying things to resell. Not to say you can't find it, but it's going to be very frustrating to find it. I use these more for bundle creation vendors to look for. This one I want to talk about last, I guess. This is, let's see, I'm going to copy the link and throw it in the chat here. This is a list of FBA prep services by Seller Essentials. I have no idea who this is, but they list out down here all of the third-party packing centers, and then they rank them. So is it tax-free? Do they do wholesale? Do they do imports? Do they do OA, RA, hazmat, and used books? So if you are looking to have a packing center, pack up your stuff, you can go through here and really, I mean, it's got a lot of third-party packing centers, and then maybe narrow it down to your top 3. Do you want somebody on the East Coast, West Coast, all of that? One of the things on my growth horizon is to order more private label and go straight from basically China to Amazon, and getting that step and vendors and manufacturers and everything kind of rooted out. That's an area that I may expand into this year. It is on my horizon to look at. So what was this? This is more prep ninjas. I like that, prep ninjas. But you can see here, if you just wanted to focus on tax-free places, where to go. If you wanted to get gray lords of used books, where to go. If you wanted to get, this one's in Australia. If you want to expand into Australia, you can go there. I have not expanded into Australia, but I've worked with somebody that did. And they were talking about the market down there, the market differences between the European market, the Australian market, and the United States market, specifically with bathing suits and thongs and, two-piece clothing sets. So that was kind of interesting to see that the different markets have way different demands and competition. So you could do by, let's see here, what is this? By state and international. So if you want to go into Canada, we've got some Canada places, Italy. It's just a huge, this is a really good thing to bookmark if you are wanting to go down that route, or even it's on your horizon and you want to maybe think about it going into this new year.
Well, that about wraps it up today. So thank you guys for joining us here all of 2022. It puts in a full year of YouTube for me. And for those who haven't subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it, as I'm trying to get up to the minimum amount of followers I need to start earning money on YouTube. For those of you that want to join our bundle course, I look forward to seeing that with you. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, everybody, and I hope we have I want a non-drama year. I want the dust to settle in my life. I want the warehouse to get up to full speed. I want my son to do well at college, and I'm trying to get to Europe on a vacation. But I just want calmness for this next year.
Is that going to be your word of the year, calm?
Yes, it's going to be calm 2023. We are not going to have any new wars, any COVID. I don't even want to hear the word COVID. I don't want to hear some other particular words in the industry. I want it to be nice and calm. I want people to stop fighting. I want to stop seeing people be so spastic at places, the films where they see people going off on the cash register person and on all of that. I just want everybody to chill, relax, take a deep breath, and let's have nothing but positive vibes going into 2023. And good morning, Tamara. All right. Well, everybody here, have a great and wonderful day, and Happy New Year.
Yep. And be safe out there. Goodbye. Goodbye, 2022.